One of the main problems with seated meditation is that the spine tends to collapse. It tends to droop forwards. We want to counter that by bringing strength into the lower back, into the spinatus erectus, the two muscles either side of the lumbar spine. So let's try the stretch we normally start with, the arms behind the back clasped. So using the arms to pull the shoulders back, but feeling the strength coming into my lower back. So I rear up and I lean back a little bit. And my sternum is thrust upwards. And people have good character, moral fiber, an innate sense of justice. We say they have backbone. And when people are weak and cowardly, we call them spineless. So the backbone is really the lumbar spine. I've got to bring a lot of strength into my lower back. And then that strength is constantly pumping upwards against gravity. So giving in to gravity, letting gravity somehow carry you down. It's very similar to allowing any pressure to carry you down, especially social pressures to conform. Now bring the hands back to prayer. And now we breathe. So first, let's think of breathing with the chest, but activating the filling of the chest by tightening these muscles in the back to bring up the energy and the spirit. Let's mark it with the hands. So I breathe in by tightening my lower back. And then I let that out. I just relax and it will come out. Then I breathe in again, tightening the lower back muscles. So I'm arching my lower back, and then I relax that arching. The tensing, tightening of the lower back is causing the chest to expand. Now let's just bring it back to prayer. Now we want to try the abdominal breathing. And for that, we use the belly muscles. When I use the back muscles for the chest breathing, when I tighten the muscles, it brings the air into the chest inflates. And when I let those muscles relax, then the air comes out. Now, when I use the abdomen, when I tighten my belly and pull it in, I exhale. So I'm trying to squeeze all of the air out of my lungs. I pull my belly in and everything is forced out. And then I relax the belly and it naturally comes back to normal, which will bring some air in. And then I squeeze the belly again, pull it in, all the air is brought out of my lungs. My lungs are as empty as they ever are. And then I relax and air will come back in. Pulling the belly in. Relaxing the belly back out. In. And in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Out. In. And we combine those two, alternate them. So let's start with the belly. So pulling the belly in to breathe everything out. I empty my lungs. Then relaxing that, air will come back in. And now I tighten the lower back and expand the chest. And my lungs now fill to absolute capacity. And then I relax the lower back and I will breathe out. And now I pull the belly in and all the air comes out of my lungs. Relax the belly and air comes back in. Tense the lower back. More air comes in. And then relax that and air comes out. Pull the belly in. Breathing out. Relaxing the belly. Breathing in. Tightening the back. Breathing in. Even more. Relaxing the back. Breathing out. You can think of the belly breathing dealing with the bottom of the lungs, and the back breathing or the chest breathing dealing with the top of the lungs. So here I'm pulling in the belly, tightening everything up. That's really pushing my diaphragm up and squeezing the lungs completely empty. And then I just relax that, and the bottom of the lungs will fill up. And then I tighten the lower back, and now the top of my lungs fill up. This feels really expanded. And then I relax that, and the top of my lungs will empty. Then I pull the belly in, squeezing the air from the bottom of my lungs up and out. Then I relax the belly, and air will come in and settle down in the bottom of the lungs. Then I tighten the lower back, and the top of my lungs fill. Then I relax that and they empty. Both the in-breath and the out-breath are in two phases. One is a relaxation phase, the first one, and then the second is a tensing phase. I relax, and then I tense, tensing the belly here. Then I relax and tense the back. Relax, tense the belly. Relax, tense the back. I want to just be very clear in my mind. Feel these phases quite distinct. Feel the character of each phase. Try not to just blur them all together. What is the mood of this tensing phase? Just really coming into some central, hidden, dark place. And then just relaxing that. And now this is like really exposing your heart, like pride, thymic pride. And then I relax that. Now I'm going right down into the belly, which is internal, it's dark, like the unconscious. And then I relax that. And then I open my chest and expose my heart. And then I close back down. Going in and coming out. Going right down deep inside into the fathomless pit. Then relaxing that. That's where we spring from. If I want to open up, I have to have got down deep. Otherwise, there's nothing, I've got to have nothing to show for myself. So I pull my belly in and tighten everything here. My lower back is stretched and spread. So the tightening in my belly is expressed by my hands coming in, and the spread in my back is expressed by my elbows sticking out. And then when I tighten the back and open the chest, that's my elbows being pulled in and my hands spreading out. And I relax that. And now I pull the hands into the belly, but my elbows expand outwards. This is more like ward off. So yielding, and then this, the chest exposing, is the attack. The difficulty is feeling this chest breathing coming from the tension in the lower back. So I want this to expand because something down here is tightening. This phase is relatively easy because I feel I just tighten everything here and that squeezes the belly in. But now to expand the chest, I have to somehow tighten, get my mind into my lower back and just tighten it. Rub the hands. Now I'm going to rub the knees. Remember, we do this to knit the musculature of the lower back and the belly together. So tightening my belly here tightening my lower back here. I want the two muscles to operate in cooperation with this sort of continuity. There's no break. And that allows the energy that's being generated to build up. I'm not moving my body or trying not to. I'm trying to generate energy which moves the body. To generate energy, I have to do two things. I have to keep my mind occupied on the job, and I have to activate the spirit. Spirit deals with difficulties, especially danger. So the more difficult I can feel it, more potentially dangerous, the more spirit will be brought in and activated, and the more energy. I'm using my body and my spirit to generate movement inside. So there's a lot more movement inside the body than there is of the body. And that activity, it all starts with this, the belt of the danchen, the waist. There's all this movement going on inside my core. And that's causing this external movement of the body. Now let's turn. I want the same quality. So when I'm doing this, it's as though the two sides of my body are sort of shearing against each other. And that movement is like a friction that generates energy. So there's this happening all the time. And when I turn, it's like the two sides coil around each other and then uncoil and then coil the other way. So it's still the two sides of my body playing with each other, or fighting, if you like two brothers just fighting for the sheer crack, for the fun of it. So I turn this way because this foot is pulling me round this leg, and the other one doesn't really want to go. So there's always this sort of tussle, a struggle going on. That's life. Life is a struggle. internally as well as externally. And again, it's all happening here. Then to riding horse, feel the sacrum pulling down. As we get older as adults, as we become more successful, life is no longer such a struggle. So we tend to lose the fight. The spirit tends to weaken, and the body also weakens, especially this area here. So you can see it in middle-aged people when they get flabby. It's not just that they're putting on weight. I mean, there is that. But it's largely the muscles here just lose their tone and it all just flops out. Because when you're fighting and with strong spirit, then this area is just really tight and together, because it all comes from here. So if we want to keep our spirit lively and ever increasing, really. John always used to say that as you get older, your energies inevitably and naturally decline. But the spirit needn't. You could actually have a spirit that's getting stronger and stronger and stronger until the day you die. And ideally, that's what is happening. And so we have to just look at how the aging process is debilitating us, making us weak and useless, and just fight against that. Find ways of keeping tone here, keeping yourself vigilant and awake, and just not believing the success can be taken away at any moment. Now let's try a little bit, just going backwards and forwards. Then with the knee going out, see how it circles? So as I come forwards, the knee makes like a semicircle. And then the same here, as I go back, the knee circles around. So working with the knee like this, make sure this joint, the hip joint, is sinking. Because if I just pull my knee forwards, then this will tend to follow and rise up. I want to make sure that I'm sinking, which means all the joints in the leg, ankle, knee, hip, have to fold, have to bend. That's all I'm doing as I come forwards. I just want to make sure that I'm rounding like this. So now my leg is straight and I'm going to come forwards because every joint has bent, but you feel it especially in the knee. The knee is bending, going out, but that also makes this hip bend. The ankle just sort of takes care of itself. It just means that you're sinking as you come into the leg. And you're staying in the outside edge. Especially difficult as you go back into the back foot. The knee tends to want to collapse in. So as I go into the back foot, this knee will tend to want to stay in. I have to really push it out here. And it's really that, it's the action in the knee that pulls my body back into the leg. The knee goes out, that brings the hip down, but it also brings me into this leg. These are always wanting to venture out. There's like a sense of curiosity in them. This is wanting to go in that direction. And so it's pulling in that direction all the time. It's just as I come into the foot, it pulls me back in. So I'm going out here, but then as I bring the weight as much as I can into this foot, the knee is pulled in again. Knee going out. My knee going out pulls me. The body itself, the torso, can't move. It has to wait for either the legs or the arms to move it. So my torso is just patiently waiting still and the leg goes out, the knee goes out and pulls me. It's so difficult. Keep the body still. My knee goes out and that pulls my body. What we tend to do is I just move my body over the leg and then the leg is forced to support this thing. I want it to be like it's the leg's idea rather than my idea. So my leg starts going back, and because it's attached to my torso, that naturally has to follow. You are always in tow. It's the spirit that's making the decisions. The spirit is in the knees of the heart. The spirit wants to fly out there, and I get taken with it. Okay. Back from riding horse. Feet, heels out, toes in, while I sink by rolling out my inner thighs. There's a lot going on. My body is rooting through the heels. My mind is being tethered to the ground through my big toes. My spirit is expressing as much in my knees as anywhere. They are wanting to venture out. Sacrum is heavy. Feel the hip bones holding the sacrum, always trying to relax the hold. So I barely have any grip. It's as though the sacrum is just floating in space. And then feel the sternum. Just really delicate. But again, it's floating in space. But this has like a real tremble to it, almost like a tearfulness. And now I want to feel the opposite foot and hand attached. What I'm going to do is lift this leg. So what I'm going to do first is connect with this hand to the foot that's going to have the weight in it. So I go down with my left hand through this point in the inguinal fold where I'd yield, I imagine it passing through that point and going down into the ground. And then I have a root, an anchor, and the other foot can come up. Let's try the other hand. So this hand now connecting with the left foot, right hand, left foot, going through this point in the groin, down to the foot, and then this leg can come up. And then going down through this point into the foot. And then I have a root in one foot and the other one can come off the ground. Step. And as I bring the weight into that foot, so remember I'm clawing at the ground, I'm using the leg to pull myself into it. It also draws this hand down into it. Pull the ground. This hand comes across, down. Remember, I pull across by breaking at the knee. So I keep my heel off the ground just long enough until the knee starts bending. And then as I start bringing the weight into the leg, the heel goes down. And that's the point where this hand starts going down. Oh, and as the weight comes in, the heel goes down and this hand gets sucked down into the heel. Pull, bring the weight into it, and bring the other foot up. And now we want to feel the connection between the foot that comes up and its hand. So remember, this hand is connected to this foot, and this hand is connected to this foot, so the cross energy. So I step, pull myself with the leg, that brings my right hand down into the left foot. So remember, this hand is attached to this foot. So what I want to do is use this hand, my left hand, to pull my right foot along the ground and then up the leg to the knee. And now I pull into this leg, this hand comes down, and this hand sucks that foot that's on the ground up to here. Pulling with the leg, also pulls my arm and hand down. This hand brings the empty leg up. And let's bring it back to guiding force. Big toes angled in, heels sliding out, knees trying to venture out. Sacrum hanging down. Imagine a long tail. And then just feel this. The rising here, physically, it's from the strength in my lower back. That is opening my chest, exposing my heart, and allowing my thymus to lift. And then the anchor, the thing that stops it from taking off and disappearing, is the big toes pressing down, mind in Dan Chen, tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, and this sense of these muscles just holding and pulling into my center. My back muscles expose and release my heart, and my belly muscles hold on to my center and keep me rooted. They're both really important. The spirit is excited, but internally gathered. The two components, the yin and the yang. Too much excitement and you lose your center, lose your seriousness and your sobriety. Too much seriousness, and obviously it's just heavy and depressing. You lose that sense of the lightness of life. You're always trying to just right a balance. This is what we do as Taoists. We're not choosing heart over belly or heart over head even. We're balancing everything. But the main way in which we are out of balance generally is that our heads are just much too active, which throws everything else out. We can't behave with any decisive, incisive speed or clarity because we're always in two minds. We're, oh, shall I do this? Shall I do that? This is the way in which freedom of choice just cripples people. So you can make an instant response to whatever stimulus comes because you don't choose. You just do what you do. You do what comes out. You don't think, oh, shall I do this? Shall I do that? If you do that, then you're dead. It's already too late. You've lost that window of power. And then it doesn't really matter what you do. It's just going to fall flat and be feeble. When the Bodhidharma brought Buddhism to China, the Buddhism was already over 1,000 years old. So when he arrived in China, Taoism was already well established, and so there were already monasteries and monks meditating. But what he found is that the monks were all just physically weak. Their postures were collapsing, and their minds were feeble. And that's when he taught them Kung Fu, taught them physical exercises to really strengthen and tone up the body and activate and strengthen the spirit. They needed to have an activity brought into them. Now, modern people, us, we need to have stillness brought into us because that's the thing that we lack and that's the thing that we crave. We crave peace, internal peace. So my little niece, she's 11 next week, and she's on psychiatric drugs because her mind is so noisy. She cannot sleep. It won't calm down enough for her to fall asleep.